we'll be seeing for the first time this season in a game of CVC football. I'm Joe Scarola. I'll be joined for tonight's broadcast by John Walsh and Mick Narouche, and we're getting ready here. We had to dispense with the pregame tonight for reasons beyond our control, and we're joining you just about right at game time here. West Geauga won the toss but elected not to receive. Instead, they will kick and defend the north goal. Tom Richards will kick off for West G. Deep to receive, Jim O'Patterney, number 33, on Westpate at 34. And the ball comes to the short man, number 32, and that is Jeff Palima.
Gone.
45 going all the way. It appears, unless he's caught from behind, it is a Chardon touchdown.
I'll tell you, that was impressive. Chardon opened up a huge hole in the middle of the field, and Jeff just picked up the ball, trotted right into the end zone. Just beautiful up front blocking by a Chardon kickoff return team.
Jeff Palima with the touchdown for Chardon here on the opening kickoff of the ball game. So the coaching decision by West G to kick off at the start of the game winds up backfiring. I believe it'll be called a 77-yard return by Palima. And 11 seconds into the ball game, Chardon takes a 6-0 lead. Dale Backus will attempt the extra point. Mark Percassi will hold. Dale Backus is healthy this evening, and the ball is down. The kick is up, and it is good. So Dale Backus adds the extra point, and quickly, 11 seconds into the ball game, before we had a chance to catch our breath, frankly, it's Chardon 7 and West Geauga nothing.
As you mentioned, Joe, Dale Backus is back pretty much to full health this evening. Should see some action at the fullback position. They'll also be doing the punting, something that is very important to Chardon as they get back into the good field position kicking game.
Well, Dale Backus will kick off a lot sooner than he expected to, I believe. We're only 11 seconds into the ball game, and Chardon is already on top 7-0. Deep to receive for West Geauga. Let's take a look down there. It's number 24, John Quinlan, number 37, Greg Sabraco, and also down there, number 17, Mike Mazurko. Deep to receive this kick from Dale Backus. Dale Backus getting set to approach the ball for Bob Doyle's Chardon Hilltoppers. High, short kick. We might have tit for tat here. That is John Quinlan, and Quinlan gets out across midfield to the 41-yard line. It's a first down.
That's really what West Geauga needed, obviously, is to come back and answer Chardon's quick touchdown. They've got beautiful field position. They will have to see what this West Geauga can do out of the pro set, and they're definitely going to be trying some trick stuff on Chardon tonight.
Greg Craddock is the quarterback, number 25 for West Geauga. In his backfield, he has number 33 up in the eye. That's Mike Moore. Number 10 behind him. The tailback is Tom Richards. Wide to the left is Mike Mazurko, number 17. Wide to the right is John Quinlan, who just returned that kick. Craddock rolling to his right on first down, in trouble, and he is hit in the backfield by a horde of Chardon Hilltoppers. Lewis Philby and Kelly Bright leading the charge. It's a loss of about 2. It'll be second down and 12.
Yeah, Brett Greer was in there from that end position, just boxing out, containing, and actually tripping and making the tackle on quarterback Craddock.
Second down, let's call it 12 yards to go. Here's the pitch to Richards. Richards, midfield, breaks the tackle, 45, still fighting inside the 40, down to about the 37-yard line. A fine game for Tom Richards. It'll be third down and about 4 yards to go for a West Geauga first down.
I'll tell you, number 56, Lou Philby at that nose tackle, made his presence felt again, coming again on the quarterback, just like he did last week, which earned him in the Plain Dealer defensive honorable mention for Player of the Week.
Third down, let's call it 5. Craddock gives the ball on the reverse to Quinlan, and he's cut down in the backfield. In fact, he may have lost the ball. We'll have to check it here.
No, I believe he held on.
Yeah, but West Geauga keeps possession, but it will be 4th down, a loss on the play of about 4 yards.
He almost handed that off to Mr. Philby.
He just about did.
I'll tell you, Lou, this is second week in a row. He's got off to an amazing start, just right in the backfield of the opposing team. I don't know, maybe he'll just get named Defensive Player of the Week this week all by himself, the way he's playing so far in the early part of this game.
Pretty sure I do somewhere. And we have a little problem here on the snap, a penalty. So on the penalty, I believe it's going to be an offside against Chardon. That'll take the ball 5 yards upfield. It'll still be 4th down, however. It's 4th down and 4. Mick Dwyer, number 7, will punt for West Geauga. Deep to receive is number 42, and number 42, of course, is Jeff Evans for Chardon. He is in single safety back inside the 10. Dwyer barely got the ball away, and it's fielded, and he stepped into the end zone. And they're going to call it a touchback, saying that Jeff Evans' momentum carried him into the end zone, and that was a big break for Chardon because Jeff Evans really handled that punt poorly.
Yes, and 2 of those Chardon guys almost got a piece of that ball. They came from the left side of the Chardon defense and knifed right through. So West G has to be on the alert for that and block a little better on the outside corners. We have to apologize. We're experiencing extreme technical difficulty, having problems with our mic this evening.
1st down and 10. And it'll be 1st and 10 right on the 20-yard line for the Hilltoppers of Chardon. Mark Percassi is the quarterback. Percassi hands the ball to Elmer Decepeda, coming to his outside. Gets to the outside 25, out of bounds across the 30. I believe they'll mark it across the 30 at about the 31-yard line. That will be good for a Chardon 1st down.
So far, Elmer did that strictly on speed alone. The linebackers are scraping across. He just got around the corner by just pure speed, cut off their angle. Good running by Elmer Decepeda. Okay, we'll have to see what kind of adjustments they can make to shut up Chardon, because Chardon seems like a fired-up team at the moment.
1st and 10 for West Geauga, or for Chardon rather, at the Chardon 31-yard line. The give is to number 23, and that is Mike Lynn, and Lynn gets out to about the 33-yard line, picked up a couple of yards. Let's call it 2nd down and 8.
West Geauga is running a typical 5-2 monster defense, which seems to be the favorite in the CVC. Like all good teams, they're very strong up the middle with their linebackers, and we're going to have to keep an eye and see how aggressive they are tonight to offset Chardon's slanting offense.
2nd down, let's call it 8 yards to go for Chardon. Tight to the left is Gary Leggett. Tight to the right-hand side is Brett Greer, and the slot right O'Patterney. And the give is to Lynn, and Lynn gets out across the 35 to the 36-yard line. It'll be 3rd down. Let's call it about 5 yards to go for a Chardon 1st down.
I'll tell you, that was again a case where quarterback Mark Percassi held the ball in the stomach of his backfield man until he could read the play, see how the ends are contained. So that's just an amazing trait he has, to know when to release the ball, know when to pull it back. Should be interesting to watch it. Chardon option play to the outside.
3rd down and about 6 yards to go for Chardon. Percassi gives the ball outside to O'Patterney, breaks the tackle, cuts around end, gets out to about the 39. He's going to be stopped short of the 1st down. We'll have to see who made the tackle over there. I believe it was number 19, Chris Veras, a junior defensive back. It'll bring up 4th down. Let's call it 4th down and about 2. And we will see Chardon punt for the 1st time this evening.
And the 1st time in a while. It should be Dale Backus back in the punting role. Yes, Dale's back deep. Be interested to see how he is recovering from his injury.
Deep to receive for West Geauga, number 17, Mike Mazurko, number 24, John Quinlan. It's a high kick by Backus, fielded by Quinlan, about the 25, 30, thrown down around the 31. knocked down there by a horde of Chardon Hilltoppers. Lewis Philby, number 56, was right in on the play.
I think Bob Peterson led the charge.
And they'll mark the ball squarely on the 30-yard line of West G, and that's where the Wolverines will have it, 1st and 10. If you've just joined us, Chardon leads it 7-0 on a kick return by Jeff Palaima on the opening kick of the ball game. 1st and 10 at the 30-yard line for West Geauga. Craddock gives the ball to number 37, and that is Greg Sabraco, and Greg Sabraco is caught for a loss in the backfield, back to about the 27-yard line. It'll be 2nd down, let's call it 12, maybe 13 yards to go.
Yeah, I think that was Ed Zaletsky and Lou Philby again in on that tackle.
2nd down, let's call it 13 for West G. Craddock drops the throw, rolls to his left, gets away from Zaletsky, and he's going to be brought down for a loss. I believe maybe a short gain, actually, about a yard, up to about the 28-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and long for the West Geauga Wolverines.
Before the game, Coach Post guy is telling us that they're going to run this hurry-up offense. If you've noticed, the first 2 series now, they haven't huddled. They're calling audibles at the line.
Again, too.
It's very similar to what the Browns was trying to accomplish against Dallas last Sunday.
They're doing it again here on 3rd and 12. Quinlan comes in motion left, kind of walking it through. Fake to him. Craddock rolling to his right, gets away from one man, fires upfield. It is caught by Mike Moore, and Moore, I believe, is short of the 1st down.
Yeah, 1.5 yards, 2 yards, Joe, short.
It'll be 4th down. Let's call it about 2 yards to go at the 38-yard line of West G, and once again the Wolverines will be forced to punt, and once again Mick Dwyer, number 7, will come out to do the kicking.
I think that play typifies what West Geauga is going to do tonight, and that's try to keep Chardon's defense off balance. We're going to use Craddock speed on rollouts, try and spread out the secondary and work these short 10, 9-yard passes underneath the deep coverage. And it should be a good test for Chardon tonight.
Rich Barron, number 22. Jeff Evans, number 42. Deep, a low punt by Dwyer. It'll be fielded by Evans at about the 33. He cuts back once and is thrown down. As he gets back up to the 34-yard line, he was knocked down there by number 51, Todd Beninati, and number 17, Mike Mazurka. It'll be 1st and 10 for Chardon. Let's mark the ball at about the 30. Well, they're going to mark it back a little ways, I'm afraid. They're going to mark it back at the 31-yard line. Apparently, Evans' knee must have touched the ground somewhere because he was further upfield than that.
Yeah, poor Jeff tried to find a hole to run into. He went to his left, went to his right, back to his left again, and West Geauga had that defended rather well.
1st and 10 at the 31-yard line for Chardon. The give is to Desipeta. Gets through that hole quickly and barrels his way out to the 39-yard line. A pickup of about 8 on the play. Stopped there by number 11, Bill Coach, Jr., and also number 19, Chris Veras. Gain of about 8. It'll be 2nd down. Let's call it 2 for Chardon.
I tell you, one of Elmer's strong points is he has instant acceleration. The moment he steps out of his stance, he shoots forward, which helps, again, your power. That gives you that extra speed. It's the old physics theory of mass times acceleration.
Chardon ball, let's call it 2nd down and about 2. And the wing right is Patterney, tight to the right Greer, tight to the left Leggett. Lynn up and Desipeta back in the eye. The give is to Desipeta, and this time Elmer is going nowhere. Wrapped up by the middle of the West Geauga line, in particular number 56, Jeff Pitcock, and also number 57, Daryl Kalura. And it'll be no gain on the play. In fact, actually a slight loss. Let's call it 3rd down and closer to 3 for Chardon.
So I think also the cornerback, Mike Mazurko, was in on that play in the backfield. And I saw him on the earlier rollout Chardon had, and the boy is very quick. Excellent reflexes. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on Mike the rest of the game.
3rd down, let's call it 3 yards to go. Patterney in the slot right, tight to the right is Greer, tight to the left Leggett. Desipeta left and Backus right in the T behind Percassi. And here's the give to Backus. Now Percassi has the ball. Percassi was not able to hand the ball off. and it turned out to be the best thing that ever happened to him because Backus was wrapped up in the backfield and Percassi wound up with a first down.
I don't think it was a case, Joe, of him not being able to hand off the ball. I think it's holding on to that ball till he's sure with the situation. In that particular instance, Mark realized that Dale was surrounded by plenty of people, pulled the ball back, made it for the first down. Good play by both the running backs.
That's got to be a tough thing for a running back to give up the football once he has it.
Oh, I'm sure. You kind of get a little possessive after a short instance.
3 minutes and 12 seconds to play here in the first quarter. Chardon leads at 7-0. And here's the give to O'Patterney. Gets a hold up to midfield almost. We'll call him a little short. Call it the 49-yard line. It's a gain of about 6. And it will make it 2nd and 4 for Chardon. In on the tackle for West G was number 77, Scott Zabrowski. It'll be 2nd down. Let's call it about 4.
Again, Chardon is using that balanced offensive attack where every one of the ball carriers is getting a chance to handle the ball, which confuses team. You can't key on one person, and if you start to do that, all of a sudden somebody else is going to break your back.
2nd down, let's call it 4 in the slot left. Desipeda, tight to the left, Leggett, tight to the right is Greer. The give is to O'Patterney, and he gets a big hole. If he breaks that one, he's gone all the way, but he didn't quite get past number 11 there, Bill Coach. But he's still got a good gain inside the 30-yard line down to about the 29 of West G. And it's another Chardon first down, a pickup of about 22 yards on the play.
Yeah, it was a beautiful run by Jim. Short of that safety man, he was sitting in the end zone. Just a gorgeous little run by Jim O'Patterney.
And now you know why they call them safeties.
That's right.
1st and 10. Let's mark the ball at the 29-yard line of West Geauga. Desipeda in the slot left. Tight to the left is Leggett. Tight to the right is Greer. Back is up. And O'Patterney back in the eye behind Mark Percassi. Desipeda comes in motion. Give is to O'Patterney coming to the outside, right side. And he gets down to about the 26, maybe the 25-yard line. Wrapped up there again by Bill Coach and also Mike Mazurko. It's a gain of about 4. Let's call it 2nd down, about 6.
Yeah, that was a nice defensive play by Mazurko and Coach. They read the sweep very quickly, and Coach came in from a safety position, actually made the initial hit, which indicates a lot of speed on his part.
2nd down, about 6 yards to go. The clock is running. 1 minute and 22 seconds to play. Here in quarter number 1, Chardon with a 7-0 lead. Tight to the right is Greer. Tight to the left is Leggett. In the slot left, Desipeda. Rolling to his right is Percassi. Steps up, wants to throw it. Now he's going to run with the ball, and he's going to be caught for a loss. Back at about the 30-yard line. Number 78 up there for West Geauga, and that is Mike Petronis, who made the tackle. And it'll bring up 3rd down and long for the Hilltoppers with less than a minute to play here in the first quarter.
I tell you, Mark had a nice little pocket set up. He had some fine blocking. It was just West Geauga's secondary did a real good job on that, not allowing the receiver to shake loose, so Mark just had to eat the ball on that particular play. Good job of, oh, it's Polecat again.
We have the Polecat once again. It is, and there's a high snap. High snap way over the head of Mark Percassi. He's going to pick it up and try to throw the ball away, and instead he's going to be caught for a huge loss all the way back at the Chardon 42-yard line. It'll bring up 4th down, and the Wolverines will be forced to punt.
Yeah, that's one of the weak points of the Polecat is you have to have that long snap. Every time you do that shotgun type, well, actually it's a deeper than shotgun type snap, you have that problem can occur. And very fortunate for West Geauga, very unfortunate for Chardon.
That's the end of the first quarter with our score, Chardon 7, West Geauga nothing. Well, as we start the second quarter of action here, we'd like to remind you that, we'll remind you of that after this punt here as we're all set to go. Dale Backus will kick for Chardon on 4th down and forever. 4th down, it's about 42 yards to go, I believe. Deep to receive, number 24, John Quinlan, number 17, Mike Mazurko. And we'll have to use a calculator, I think, to total up all the losses on that Polecat play. A beautiful punt by Backus, high and deep. It is taken and fumbled by Quinlan back at about the 7-yard line. Cuts the outside, cuts across the 10. and he's downed as I believe he reaches about the 14-yard line. It's the 14-yard line of West Geauga, and that's where the Wolverines will have the ball first and 10. Meanwhile, let me remind you that you could start your Sunday morning off with a laugh. Read Marilyn Whipke only in the Geauga Times-Leader. Call now for home delivery, 12 weeks for only $12. That's for 7 days. Call 286-6101 or 564-5707. The Geauga Times-Leader, your local newspaper. First and 10 for the Wolverines, the West Geauga 14-yard line. Mike Mazurko in the slot left there, as you see. Craddock back to throw. Fires down the middle. It is tipped and nearly intercepted there by number 75, Chuck Cox.
The sophomore linebacker getting his second start. The reason Chuck's in there was due to an injury to Steve Fellinger. Steve injured his shoulder, is wearing a brace on it tonight. We'll see action at the quarterback position, but Chuck Cox, the sophomore, has just won himself a job. He's playing a heck of a good linebacker position for any age, specifically for a sophomore.
Joe Scarola along with John Walsh and Mick Narouche. Chardon leads at 7-0. We have 11 minutes, 27 seconds to play in the first half. The score coming on a 77-yard opening kickoff return by Jeff Palaima. Craddock gives the ball, I believe, to Richards, and we're going to have a penalty on the play, I think. I think I saw a flag somewhere, maybe not. I think they were just marking where his forward progress actually was. It was Mike Moore was the ball carrier, not Tom Richards. It's a loss of 3, and it'll be third down and about 13.
Yeah, that was Kelly Bright joining Lou Philby that time in the backfield. I guess Mr. Philby got a little lonely back there being the only Chardon player. Mr. Kelly Bright decided to join him.
Quinlan comes wide to the right. Wide to the left for West Geauga is number 49, Rick Rowan. Or that's Dave Sterlikar, rather, to the left, and we have a flag. Flags all over the place, as a matter of fact. Probably a procedure call against West G, and it is.
Yeah, I see the Chardon players clapping right now, so it must be on West Geauga. I'll tell you, that Chardon defensive line just shoots off the ball real quick. It's amazing what kind of speed they have up front.
That's one thing I've noticed in this last series. West G's offensive line is going to have to start meeting Chardon, hit the line of scrimmage and neutralizing them if West Geauga is going to pull off any of these counter plays that head coach Post guy was planning on.
Third down, let's call it 17 for West Geauga. Wide to the right is Quinlan. Wide to the left comes number 27, Tim Roethlisberger. Craddock hands the ball to Moore, I believe. And Moore is out across the 10, back out to about the 13-yard line. He's around the original line of scrimmage. It'll be fourth down. And once again, I believe Mick Dwyer will come out to punt for West G on fourth down and about 10.
I think West Geauga that time attempted to catch the Chardon defense sleeping, being extremely pass-oriented, looking for the pass in an obvious passing situation. Chardon reacted to the call and just stopped them with minimal gain.
Dwyer gets off a high kick. Fair catch is called for by Jeff Evans, and he makes the fair catch at the 45-yard line of Chardon. 31-yard punt by Dwyer with no return, and the Hilltoppers will have the ball in excellent field position. First and 10 at the West Geauga 45.
Yeah, according to my stats, Dale Backus at fullback has not seen the ball yet, although it was pulled out of his stomach in that one play when Mark Percassi got the first down. Be interesting to see if they go to Dale, start just working on the middle so they can break some of those big outside plays that they do with Elmer Desapeda and Jim O'Patterney.
Dale Backus has been out of the Chardon lineup in recent times, at least on offense, because of injuries. First down and 10 at the 45-yard line. Percassi rolling to his left. He's going to run the ball 45, 40, 35, and Mark steps out of bounds to the 34-yard line. Picked up 11 yards, and that will be good for a Chardon first down. It's first and 10 Chardon at the West Geauga 34.
Yeah, that was a good choice by Mark, I believe. He didn't have that much pressure in the backfield, but he saw the whole left lane open up for him, so he took it. He had an eligible receiver, Mike Lynn, who was in there for Dale Backus in that particular play, was open, but Mark looked down, saw the open, and it's just a higher percentage play, as the 11 yards testified to.
Chardon ball, 1st and 10 at the West Geauga 34 as the Chardon Hilltoppers break the huddle. Tight to the left is Leggett, tight to the right is Greer, in the slot right is O'Patterney. It's Desipeda left and Lynn right behind Percassi. The give to Desipeda on the sweep, cutting to the outside 30, 25, down to about the 20-yard line. He was stopped there by number 19, Chris Veras, and also number 77, Scott Zabrowski. But he picked up about 14 yards, and that's good for another Chardon 1st down.
I'll tell you, gentlemen, West Geauga is going to have to start fanning their cornerbacks out. Right now, they've got them playing very tight and deep. And if Chardon keeps running these outside runs, it's very difficult for a cornerback to get that angle to force the runner in when they're being pinched like they are. We'll have to see if they make an adjustment here.
They're definitely being beaten wide. There's no question about it, and that's what most of the yardage against them in this ball game has come, at least up to this point. Percassi gives the ball to Desipeda, cuts the outside. Doesn't pick up very much, maybe a yard or 2, possibly 3, that's all. And he's knocked down there by number 77, Mr. Zabrowski, and also number 78, Mike Petronas. Gain of about 3. It'll be 2nd down and 7.
You're making it sound like 3 is something to apologize for, Joe. You're forgetting Woody Hayes' old theorem of 3 yards in a cloud of dust. There's nothing wrong with a 3-yard carry.
Yes, and also Woody's theorem involved a lot of drives that stalled inside the 20-yard line, too. You remember that, John. As they give to Mike Lynn. Lynn cutting inside the 15 down to around the 12-yard line. He is very close to a Chardon 1st down and may have it. Stopped there by Chris Veras. Once again, number 19, and the referees are calling for a measurement here to see whether or not Chardon has a 1st down at the 12-yard line of West Geauga.
I'll tell you, Mike Lynn showed some real strong inside running that time, which makes it real nice for Coach Doyle to rest Dale Backus for another week if he can continue performing like this. It's an enviable position to be into with having so many fine backs on one squad.
I think it's safe to say up to this point, gentlemen, that Chardon has controlled the line of scrimmage, especially on offense.
That's the big difference in the game right now. The Chardon offense line and defense line has just been all seconds quicker coming off the ball, and they're winning the battle zone.
As Mike Posguy was telling us before the game, this is a very young West Geauga squad. I believe 1 returning starter from last season, only 6 returning lettermen. So it's a learning experience this year for the Wolverines. Chardon did not get a 1st down. It's 3rd down, less than a yard to go. O'Patterney comes in motion left. Percassi's going to take it himself and gets down to about the 9-yard line, where he has another Chardon 1st down. It's 1st and goal for Chardon at the West Geauga 9-yard line. 7:50 to play here in the 1st half.
I'll tell you, West G better start making some adjustments, because even though if Chardon pushes us in the end zone, they'll only make it 2 touchdowns down. The way they're playing right now, it's going to be deeper in the trench psychologically for Chardon.
1st and goal for Chardon at the West Geauga 9. There's the give to Mike Lynn, and Lynn is hit almost immediately and wrapped up and thrown down by a horde of West Geauga players, including number 64 there, and that is Bob Nagy, and also number 77, Scott Zabrowski. It's a nominal gain. Let's call it a yard. It'll be 2nd and goal from the 8-yard line for Chardon.
I notice again, Chardon again seems to be leaning towards the right side of their offensive line, where you have Todd Lee and Bill Protz. That's just strong up front blocking from that guard tackle position on the right side for Chardon.
2nd and goal for Chardon at the West G 8-yard line. The give is to O'Patterney. O'Patterney is inside the 5 down to the 4. Stopped there by Bill Coach. Gain of about 4 on the play, and that'll bring up 3rd and goal for Chardon. It is 3rd and goal for the Hilltoppers at the Wolverine 4-yard line.
Right now, it just appears that Chardon has West G really off balance. The linebackers aren't really staying at home, and on that counter, for example, the right side linebacker actually pinched on the fake, and that's what gave Chardon a big gain.
3rd and goal for Chardon at the West G 4-yard line. And the slot right is O'Patterney. Tight to the left, Leggett. Tight to the right, Greer. Percassi rolling to his left. Steps up to throw it. throws into the end zone. It goes right through the hands of Brett Greer. It'll be 4th down. And now it's decision time for Bob Doyle.
Well, we have a flag thrown on about the 2-yard line or so. I don't know exactly what they could be. Maybe a holding on Chardon. I'm not really sure what the infraction could be. We'll have to wait and see.
Thrown in the area of the field where you would expect a holding penalty on the offense, and I believe that's what it's going to be, either that or an eligible receiver downfield, possibly.
Okay, I'll tell you, as Mick alluded to, Chardon is just throwing a extremely varied offense at West Geauga tonight. Notoriously, Chardon is known as a team that runs on the ground. So far, they've tried to pass on 3 occasions. They're just going to the outside, cutting to the inside, this back, that back, and they're just keeping West Geauga totally off balance.
Now Bob Doyle's decision is very easy. The penalty, ineligible receiver downfield, that makes it a loss of down. Brings the ball back out to the 9-yard line. There's only a 5-yard penalty on the play, and Dale Backus will come on 4th and goal from the 9 and try to make it a 10-point Chardon lead. Percassi will hold. He'll spot the ball at the 16. This is a 26-yard attempt, and the kick is up, and it is good. 26-yard field goal by Dale Backus with 6 minutes and 5 seconds to play here in the first half. It's Chardon 10, West Geauga nothing. And let me remind you that you can get all of the local sports news and scores in the Geauga Times-Leader. For home delivery, 12 weeks of 7-day delivery for only $12. Call 286-6101 or 564-5707. The Geauga Times-Leader, your local paper.
I tell you, West G has got to do something here to go into that locker room at halftime, still into this game. I think they got to start a march, or at least they can get a field goal out of it, or psychologically, like I mentioned earlier, they could be out of this game very, very early.
Well,
Mazurko, Quinlan, and Sobraco are deep for West Geauga. Dale Backus will kick off for Chardon. It's going to be a high, fairly short kick taken by Quinlan at the 10, 15, 20. Knocked down as he reaches the 24, possibly the 25-yard line. D. Maxwell, number 15, made the stop. It'll be 1st and 10 for West G. Let's call it at the West G 24.
Yeah, it was a real nice hit by D on that particular play. He stuck the shoulder pad into his thigh pad, and down came the runner. That's the most effective way to stop somebody cold in their tracks, is hit them low.
Quinlan comes wide to the right, wide to the left is Mazurko. And coming tight to the right there is number 13, Matt Blasey. Up is Moore, back is Richards in the eye behind Craddock. The pitch is to Tom Richards, kind of the outside, and he is thrown down by Brett Greer, number 41, and also the sophomore linebacker, number 75, Chuck Cox, in on the play. It's a pretty good-sized loss. Let's call it a 5-yard loss. It'll be 2nd down and 15.
I tell you, the Chardon defensive linebacker core is just playing inspired defense. West Geauga can't turn on their offense at all. They completely got them stymied.
5 minutes, let's call it 7 seconds to play now here in the first half. 2nd down and 15 for West G at the West G 19-yard line. Coming in motion right is Quinlan. Craddock drops the throw under heavy pressure, gets away from Greer, steps up, fires it complete to Mazurko, who's, no, that's not Mazurko, it's Matt Blasey. He's thrown out of bounds across the 20 at the 27-yard line, but I believe there is a flag on the play.
Is there?
No, I saw a flag, and it must have been picked up.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
I did see a referee throw a flag, but apparently he must have picked it up. Must have dropped out of his pocket or something, because there is no penalty. It'll be 3rd down. Let's call it 6 yards to go. A gain of 9 on the play.
Yeah, I thought your eyeballs were a lot better than mine, Joe. I looked all over the field. I'll be darned if I could find a flag.
I'm so used to seeing yellow, I guess.
It could be.
3rd down. Let's call it 6. Coming in motion left is Sobraco. Craddock rolls to his left, and he's thrown down for a huge loss by Lewis Philby, number 56, back at the 20-yard line. It's a loss of 7. That'll bring up 4th down and forever, actually 14 if you want to be technical. And once again, Mick Dwyer will punt for West Geauga.
I'll tell you, the offensive line of West Geauga has to make a lot of adjustments up front. Lou Philby virtually went in untouched on that particular play, and I'm sure the quarterback, Greg, doesn't appreciate that in the least.
4th down and 14. Nick Dwyer will do the punting, gets a high snap. And a very high, very short kick. It's going to hit at the 40, takes sort of a neutral roll out of bounds at the West G 44-yard line. So once again, Chardon will have excellent field position after a short kick, this time only a 24-yard punt by Dwyer. It'll be 1st and 10 for Chardon at the West G 44-yard line.
You know, Mick, looking at this West G sideline, it just looks like a team that's flat. Boys are just standing around pretty much. If they had pockets in their football pants and have their hands inside of them, these boys need to get pumped up a little bit to get back into this game.
Yeah, I think that opening kickoff return really took a lot of wind out of their sails. And I'm sure at halftime the coaches are going to have a lot to say to the team. And we'll see how inspired they are when they come out of that locker room.
1st and 10 from the West Geauga 44. Percassi gives the ball on a reverse to Decepeda, and the West Geauga defense read it well. And they hold Elmer to a 3-yard gain. It's knocked down there by number 23, Bill DiMuzio. Also number 36, Nick Lorenzo.
Yeah, that was a nice defensive play of staying at home, because Chardon did a lot of razzle-dazzle in the backfield, and it was actually a counter back to the left side of West G's defense, and the defensive men were where they were supposed to be. It was a nice play.
It'll be 2nd down. Let's call it 7 for Chardon from the West Geauga 41. And the slot left is Decepeda. The give is to O'Patterney, kind of the outside. He's wrapped up beautifully in the backfield and thrown down there by Mike Petronis. And we also have a flag on the play. And so we have timeout, of course, with a penalty, which I believe will work against Chardon. That is, if West G decides to take it. It's a holding penalty, so I'm sure they'll take it. That would make it 2nd down and 17 rather than 3rd down and 6.
Analyzing the game at this point, Chardon appears to keep running to the left defensive side of West G, which features Mike Petronis, which we've mentioned his name several times. And I think what's being shown is Chardon's going at West G's strength. The plays I have seen Mike play in, he's playing a very good defensive tackle. He's making some good penetration. He's always staying at home. And I got the feeling Chardon's plan is to go at that strength.
Yeah, but then, again, Mick, that's also Chardon's strength, so I think it's a case of matching strength against strength and see who the winner is. So far, it's been Chardon at this point.
Chardon looks like they got strength left or right.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, after the penalty, it'll be 2nd and 17 for Chardon. Let's mark the ball back at the 48-yard line of Chardon. Percassi drops to throw under a rush, now cuts up the middle, has some field in front of him, but a nice defensive play by number 44, Rick Salk. Cut off the lane for him, and I believe there was a fumble, and West Geauga has recovered. And that might be the break that the West Geauga Wolverines need to get back into this ball game mentally.
West Geauga's hands are out of their pockets now. They're clapping, cheering.
Okay, that's what they need.
They got 2.5 minutes to try and put some numbers on the board.
There
that was Mike Petronzio again. So, again, that was good pursuit. He was rushing. He came back and kind of caught Mark from the backside, and that's what caused the fumble.
Well, West Geauga has a golden opportunity now. It is 1st and 10 for the Wolverines, the 49 of Chardon, 2:16 to play here in the first half. And Greg Craddock gives the ball to Mike Moore, and Moore gets down to about the 45-yard line. Only a good defensive play by Gary Leggett stopped him from getting a big gain. It'll be 2nd down, about 6.
Again, Lou Philby was in right after Craddock made that handoff. He took one heck of a shot.
I think it was while he was handing it off.
Yeah, that's true. I don't think Lou Philby would win many popularity contests around the CVC from what we've seen so far, because he's aggravating a lot of quarterbacks around this league.
2nd down, let's call it 6 to go for West G at the 45-yard line. Greg Craddock takes the ball on the keeper, breaks a tackle, 40, 35, down to the 32. He picked up 13 yards. That'll be good for West Geauga, 1st down.
That was a nifty play. Because they went right at Mr. Philby, who's been very aggressive, and they kind of caught him being overly aggressive, and they caught a quick hitter right up the middle where the least amount of people are.
That's true. It was a very good play calling on that thing. Try to neutralize the rush of Chardon, I suppose, was their intent on that particular play.
First and 10 for West G at the Chardon 32-yard line. Wide to the left is Mazurko, I believe. Wide to the right is Quinlan. Rolling to his right is Craddock. And he's snowed under back at the 38-yard line by Lewis Philby and also Kelly Bright. A loss of 6, and I believe now West Geauga will call for time with exactly 1 minute to play. And a good time to remind you that if you're selling any articles, you have some articles that need to be sold quickly, call the Geauga Times Leader Advisors. They can really help you get as much action for your dollar as you possibly can. The Geauga Times Leader Advisors will help you sell whatever you need to sell. Call 286-6101 or 564-5707 and put the Geauga Times Leader Advisors to work for you. The Geauga Times Leader, your local newspaper. There you see Mike Posguy, who is in his second year as head coach of West Geauga. Mike spent 10 years at West G previously as an assistant from 1970 through 79. He was a linebacker and a running back for West G back in the mid-60s. Also played at Purdue University. Was head coach at Akron Coventry High School in 1981 and 82. Came back to his alma mater as athletic director in 83. Took the reins in 1984 when Bob Quackenbush resigned to become head football coach at Ashland High School. So Mike Posguy in his second year here at West Geauga.
Wasn't he also an assistant coach at Hiram with Coach Doyle?
Yes, Mike Posguy and Bob Doyle were on the staff at Hiram back in 1979-1980, both at the same time. Over the middle, Greg Craddock throws it to Mike Mazurko, and Mazurko gets a lot of that yardage back that was lost on the penalties down to about the 28-yard line. Maybe call it the 27. It'll be third down. Let's make it 6 yards to go for West G.
That's what West G needs to do. They've got to keep Chardon's linebackers neutralized. And quick slant pass patterns like that will sure do the trick.
It's also worth reminding here that West G has a fine field goal kicker in Tom Richards, and they are just about in range for him right now in case they have to go that route, and we have flags flying all over the place. Clock stopped with 27 seconds to play. Illegal motion will be the call against West G.
I tell you, West G came up to the line and stuff, not really thinking about the clock. I didn't understand their reasoning for that at all. It was like they had all the time in the world. There's only at the moment 20 seconds left in the half. So, well, I guess they just had confidence in their offense. They also have the timeouts to play with. So we'll see what they come up with on this particular play.
Remember, John, haste makes waste.
Yeah, but 27 seconds, Mick.
The clock is running now. We're down to 16 seconds. Third down. Let's call it 10. Coming in motion right is Quinlan. And they're about, they barely got it off again, I think. Rolling to his right is Craddock under heavy pressure. And he is going to be thrown out of bounds for a loss back around the 37-yard line with 4 seconds to play in the half. And with fourth down and forever, you have to wonder whether Mike Posguy will try to extend the leg of Tom Richards here and see whether he can hit an extra long one, or whether they're going to go for a long one on fourth down. I think that Mike has decided to go with the field goal unit, or at least it appears to be that way right now on fourth and very long yardage with only 4 seconds to play in the half.
I think I'd give it a try, too. I agree with his reasoning on that. The worst thing that can happen, it can get blocked, picked up, and ran in. But you're going to have... No, he's going...
No, they've gone the other... They've decided to go for it here on fourth down, here the last play of the half. I saw a kicking tee go out there, but apparently a decision was changed. Craddock to throw. Down the sideline, it is dropped by Quinlan, and that is the end of the first half. So the first half has come to an end here at Chardon High School with our score: the Chardon Hilltoppers 10, the West Geauga Wolverines nothing. We will have, of course, the West Geauga and band and the Chardon band here at halftime. I believe tonight is parents' night for the band members here at Chardon. And, of course, we'll come back with that action shortly. Outstanding performance, ladies and gentlemen, by the Chardon High School Marching Band. Outstanding performances by both the West Geauga and Chardon bands tonight, of course, as usual. We're just about ready to get started here for the second half of action. We're only about a minute and a half away from doing that. I'm Joe Scarola, along with Mick Narush and John Walsh. And at halftime, our score is Chardon High School Hilltoppers 10, the West Geauga High School Wolverines 0. John Walsh, I believe you have some observations here on half number 1.
Yeah, I'd like to start with the stats. I have Mark Percassi carrying 3 times for 18 yards. Jim O'Patterney carrying 6 times for 39 yards. Elmer Desipeta 6 times for 38 yards. And Mike Lynn carrying 3 times for 12 yards. That pretty much sums up the balanced attack of Chardon. I believe West G, it'd be interesting to see their strategy. Chardon thus far is playing almost, even though they only have the 10 points, they're playing close to a perfect football game. I don't know offhand of any adjustments that are necessary to be made, except to make them aware, again, reassure them as to the things that West Geauga do best and try to prevent them from executing the particular plays on that.
Basically, second half, West Geauga is going to have to come out and execute all their positions, primarily on the line. It's imperative that they play fundamental football. First of all, get a good jump off the snap, neutralize the blocking zone to allow the running backs and the quarterbacks to operate. And defensively, again, on the line, they've got to penetrate and try and shut down all this razzle-dazzle that Chardon's been doing in the backfield. And I'm sure that's what the coaches told them at halftime. We'll have to see if the Wolverines respond to it.
Yeah, I'm sure he talked to his offensive line a little bit, saying you must stop that penetration by Chardon. Also, the defensive line has got to get in, put a little pressure deep, beat Chardon's offensive line to get back effectively into this game. We'll see what kind of strategy they come up to as the teams are lining up for the second half kickoff. We turn the mic back to Joe.
The big difference in the ball game in the first half, a big play, a 77-yard kickoff return for a touchdown on the game's opening kickoff by Jeff Palima of Chardon. The other score in the ball game coming in the second quarter, a 26-yard field goal by Chardon's Dale Backus. That explains the 10-0 lead. Dale Backus will kick off to the West Geauga Wolverines here to start half number 2. And we have a bevy of West Geauga players deep, chief among them. Number 24, John Quinlan, who's in the middle. Number 37, Greg Sabraco, who's to the left, or actually to the right of your screen, and to the left, number 17, Mike Mazurko. Backus getting set to kick it off here for Chardon and get this second half underway. And he boots a high sailing kick toward the right sideline. Quinlan fields it at about the 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, out to about the 32-yard line. Tackled there by Ed Seletsky, number 54. Also Chuck Cox, number 75. Let's call it 1st and 10 for West G at the West G 31.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what kind of a tempo that West Geauga team will set in the second half. They have to start doing something. If Chardon can get the ball back, score, this ball game could be over very, very early. So West G has to establish some sort of an offense immediately.
1st and 10 for West G at the West G 31. Wide to the left, Mazurko. Quinlan comes wide to the right. The give is to Mike Moore, who breaks a tackle. Fights his way up to about the 34, possibly the 35-yard line. Kelly Bright and Ed Seletsky in on the tackle. Also, I believe, joined by Paul Novak. It'll be second down, let's call it about 7 from the 34-yard line of West G.
Joe, that play kind of exemplified how West Geauga is missing the running of Mr. Julian, their primary tailback. Right now, due to injuries, West Geauga is running really with 2 fullbacks at this point.
Jim Julian out of the lineup, also a fine pass receiver as well. Craddock rolling to his right, can't find anybody open, and he's sacked for a loss by Brett Greer back around the 24-yard line. Let's call it a loss of 10. It'll be third down and make it about 14, maybe 16 actually, for West Geauga.
Yeah, Kelly Bright was also in on that tackle, slanting over from his tackle position. The poor quarterback really doesn't have a chance. The the ends box him in when he tries to roll out outside. If he drops back into a pocket, the defensive linemen are right in his face. It's really a tough situation for him.
Third down, and actually they're calling it 17 yards to go, back around the 24-yard line. Wide to the left, Mazurko, wide to the right, Quinlan, to throw Craddock down the sideline, a high floater, and it is tipped, and probably easily could have been intercepted by Bob Peterson. That was a helium ball.
Yeah, very much so. That ball was thrown, good hang time on that particular pass.
Mike Mazurko was open on that play, too, and had Greg Craddock gotten the ball to him quickly, he would have had a completion and pretty good gain. I don't know whether he would have gotten enough for the first down, though, because he needed so much.
Yeah, as we mentioned, watching the teams warm up before the game, Joe, Craddock seems to have a strong little bullet arm for 15-yard patterns, but he doesn't seem to have the strength to throw the deep pass, and that one took a lot of yardage, being on the angle like it was.
Mick Dwyer just barely got the punt away. It's taken by Jeff Evans at the 49, and he is hit almost immediately there by Mike Mazurko, number 17. In fact, he had a loss on the return of about 2 yards. They're going to mark the ball at the 47-yard line. The referees do. It'll be 1st and 10 for Chardon at the Chardon 47. So another short punt by Dwyer, this one going 26 yards with a -2 on the return. Chardon ball 1st and 10.
Yeah, in defense of Mr. Dwyer, unfortunately, he's getting one heck of a rush. Again, he's not getting any blocking up front. There's 2-3 Chardon guys just ready to block it. I wouldn't be surprised if they do get one tonight, the way it's going thus far.
9:43 to play here in the third quarter. O'Patterney on the wing right. Tight to the right is Greer. Tight to the left is Leggett. Lynn up. Desipeta back in the eye. The give is to Elmer Desipeta. And he gets across midfield to about the 49-yard line, knocked down there by number 56, Jeff Pitcock, and also, I believe, number 77, Scott Zabrowski, in on the play. It'll be 2nd down. Let's call it 6 yards to go for Chardon.
Yeah, it's up to West Geauga defense to get inspired now and start picking up the pace so this team can get back into the ball game.
2nd down and 6. O'Patterney on the slot right. Tight to the right is Greer. Tight to the left is Leggett. The give to Desipeta again. Fights across midfield down to about the 45. It's thrown down by a horde of West G tacklers, principally number 77, Scott Zabrowski. Also on the play, number 23, Bill DeMuzio, and number 19, Chris Veras. Gain down to about the 45-yard line. It'll bring up 3rd down. Let's call it about 3 to go for Chardon.
Yeah, this is a critical down for that West G defense.
Last week, West Geauga allowed 2 quick early touchdowns to Chagrin Falls, then shut down the Tigers for the rest of the game, eventually wound up losing 13-7. This week, they'll have to shut down the Chardon Hilltoppers again after some early problems. 3rd down and 3. Here's the give to O'Patterney. He gets a block. Goes across the 45 down to about the 43, and he may have enough for a Chardon 1st down.
I believe he does have it, Joe.
And it is a 1st down for Chardon. Let's call it closer to the West G 42-yard line.
Gentlemen, I hate to say it, but it looks like West G has come out the second half flat as a pancake. I don't see any cheering or inspiration from the sidelines or the boys on the field. And, you know, you're not going to keep up with a team like Chardon without being inspired. It's that simple.
I hate to say it, but they sort of remind me of a group at a funeral. And here's the give to Mike Lynn, and Lynn gets across the 45 down to about the 44-yard line. He's tackled once again there by number 78, Mike Petronis, who's had a fine ball game there in the middle of the West Geauga line. It'll be 2nd down, about 7.
Yeah, I guess that Chardon's game plan in this half is just keep running right at him and see if West G can stop him. Thus far, they haven't been able to.
Leggett is tight to the left, tight to the right is Greer in the slot left, Desipeta, Lynn up, and O'Patterney back in the eye, and Mike Lynn moved early, and it'll be a 5-yard penalty against the Chardon Hilltoppers for illegal motion.
I just caught a defensive movement there. It looks like they're finally starting to shift the interior defensive linemen. Again, it's somewhat dangerous in that you're going to be concentrating your efforts in one area of the field, but West Geauga has got to do something creative to shut down a segment of the Chardon offense. And it's a good move on the coach's part.
Also creating some movement, and you get the players' minds into the game a little more, get them up a little more mentally, get them a little more excited, and they need that too. Percassi drops the throw, fires a screen to Mike Lynn. Lynn wasn't going anywhere anyway, and beside that, he dropped the ball. It'll be third down. That play was read very, very well by Mike Petronas, who was right there and would have clubbed Lynn for no gain even if he had caught the pass.
Again, though, Chardon offense is really creative tonight. Something that normally it's almost a predictable type of offense. Tonight they're just throwing everything possible at you. You really don't know what to expect, which is not something that West G can find easy to live with.
They have opened things up quite a bit more, I'd say, than they have in the previous 3 times we've seen them this year. Percassi rolling to his left, looking to throw. Good protection, fires upfield. And an excellent defensive play. A fine hit there by Bill Coach. Cut down a potential completion to Elmer DeCipeta. Even if DeCipeta had caught the ball, he still would have been short of the first down by a couple of yards. It's 4th down and 12, and the West Geauga defense does their job. Now it's up to the West Geauga offense to do theirs. It's 4th and 12 at the 44-yard line of West Geauga, and Dale Backus will come in to punt for Chardon. Deep to receive, Mike Mazurko, also John Quinlan. Backus gets a good snap. The Wolverines are coming, but he gets it away, going for the right corner, and it looks like he's got it out of bounds inside the 10, right about at the 10-yard line. And it'll be first down right at the 10-yard line of West Geauga for the Wolverines, way back down in their territory. And we have a timeout on the field. Meanwhile, it's a good time to remind you out there in television land that for all of the best local sports coverage, you can get it all from the Geauga Times-Leader. As you take a look at some West G rooters right there. The Geauga Times-Leader gives you all of the local and national sports news every day of the week. Call 286-6101 or 564-5707. For 12 weeks of home delivery for just $12. That's 7 days, 7-day delivery. Once again, 286-6101 or 564-5707. The Geauga Times-Leader, your local newspaper.
Yeah, just to update you on the action in the CVC last week, Chardon won their opener against Kenston 10-7. Chagrin Falls beat West Geauga 14-7. Wycliffe beat Orange 46-15, and Solon shut out Twinsburg 32-0.
Well, we're ready to come back to action, and West G will take over the ball 1st and 10 at their own 10 as Greg Craddock brings them up. There you see Mike Moore up and Tom Richards back in the eye, and the ball is given to Moore, and Moore is not going very far. He gets out to about the 14. Stopped there by Kelly Bright and Gary Leggett, a gain of 4. It'll be 2nd down and 6.
Yeah, it was a nice reaction by Gary Leggett. He hung back, looking for the pass a little bit, read it as a run, shot up quick, and stopped him essentially with just a 3-yard gain.
Just over 6 minutes to play here in the 3rd quarter. Chardon on top 10-0. West G with the ball, 2nd and 6 at their own 14. Wide to the right comes Quinlan. Wide to the left is Mazurko. Up in the eye is Mike Moore. Back in the eye is Tom Richards. The ball is given to Moore, and he's thrown for a loss. It was hit down there underneath, I believe, by Paul Novak, who got a hand in there and knocked him down. And, well, I think the West G majorettes and cheerleaders who are congregated over there noticed that they're on camera, and they are all mugging for us. Hello, ladies. It's good to see you. Glad you're having a good time here at the ball game tonight.
Everybody wants to be a star.
Everybody else is having a good time there. I see somewhat of a wave emanating in the stands. 3rd down, let's call it 8. Craddock to throw under heavy pressure, rolls to his left. Now he gets to the outside by Gary Leggett, gets across the 20 and out to the 23-yard line where he loses the ball out of bounds, but it will be good for a West G 1st down.
That was a nice run by Craddock. Really showed his speed and agility. He rolled outside very quickly, caught the end pinching a little bit, and turned it upfield wisely for a 1st down.
Made a real good fake, too, to freeze those backers, so that they couldn't commit. to nail him or, you know, go out for a pass. He made a good fake there, got those backers off of him. That opened up the outside for him. 1st and 10 for West G. They have the ball at their own 23-yard line. Wide to the left comes Quinlan. Wide to the right is Mazurko. Left is Moore, right is Richards in the T, and the give is to Mike Moore. Moore cutting to the outside. Can't get away from Gary Leggett or Paul Novak. He picks up about 2 yards. It'll be 2nd down. Let's call it 8 yards to go.
Yeah, he just kept scraping out that line of scrimmage. He must have ran about 15 yards laterally. Unfortunately, that is not the direction that West G needs to go at the moment.
4:52 to play here in quarter number 3. Chardon in front 10-0, 2nd and 8. Wide to the left comes Mazurko. Wide to the right is Quinlan. Tight to the right is Matt Blasey. Moore up, Richards back in the eye behind quarterback Greg Craddock. Craddock rolls to his left, steps up, fires downfield, and pass is incomplete, intended for Mike Mazurko. It'll be 3rd down. Once again, a high floater coming from Greg Craddock. If he had put a little zip on that ball, he had a chance to complete that one too.
I'll tell you, thus far this game has gone at a relatively quick pace for normal type of games that we've experienced so far in the CVC game of the week. And amazingly enough, there's been quite a bit of passing, which normally slows down a game, but for some reason it just seems to be flowing rather quickly this evening.
We've only been playing for an hour and 15 minutes here. You know, we only started an hour and 15 minutes ago, and we're almost 2/3 of the way through the 3rd quarter. 3rd down. Craddock rolling to his right, steps up, fires upfield. It is underthrown and intercepted there by number 32, and that is Jeff Palima, the man who returned that kickoff touchdown to open the game.
Yeah, just a sophomore too, Jeff.
We have a flag. We have a flag.
There is a flag.
Let's check that flag out. It's way back upfield. We're having some, it's going to be against West Geauga apparently for blocking below the waist. That penalty obviously will be declined. And the Chardon Hilltoppers on the interception will take over the ball, I believe, back up at the 45-yard line. I believe it is 45-yard line of West G. Jeff Palima, who has scored the game's only touchdown on that kick return, comes up with another big play for the Chardon Hilltoppers.
Yeah, Jeff is having one heck of a game tonight, and this is only his 2nd game on the varsity thus far, because he won himself the starting job for the Kenston game last week, earned the right to keep it again, and it doesn't look like he's going to be displaced this evening.
1st and 10 for Chardon at the 44-yard line of West Geauga. The pitch comes to Desipeta, trying to run behind his interference, and he's wrapped up and thrown down there by Mike Mazurko and number 17 and also number 57, Daryl Kalura. Gain of about 4. It'll be 2nd down. Let's call it 6 for Chardon down at the 40-yard line of West G.
Yeah, West G has got to do something. Maybe, as Mick mentioned earlier, they got to start doing little stunts or sending the linebackers in or something, but they got to stop this Chardon offense here.
Chardon Hilltoppers with the ball, 2nd and 6. Tight to the left is Leggett, tight to the right is Greer, and the slot right is O'Patterney. Desipeta left, and Backus right in the T. Give is to Dale Backus. Backus breaks the tackle, gets down inside the 35 to the 34, and he may have enough for a Chardon 1st down. It's going to be pretty close.
Yeah, I think it depends on the spot, Joe.
And another man who's had an outstanding game, Chris Veras, number 19.
No, he gave it to him.
It is a 1st down. Chardon mark the ball at the West G 34-yard line. This is a good time to remind you that if you have a local news tip, call the Geauga Times leader, 286-6101 or 564-5707. The Geauga Times leader, your local paper. Tight to the left is Leggett. Tight to the right is Greer, and the slot right O'Patterney. Desipeta left, Backus right in the T. The give is to Dale Backus, and Backus is hit hard right at the line of scrimmage and then hit again and gets maybe a yard at most. He's thrown down by number 34, Steve Vitale. It'll be 2nd down. Let's call it about 10, right where they started for Chardon.
That's what West Geauga is going to have to do. We've said it for about 3 quarters now. They've got to fire off the ball and penetrate that neutral zone and stop the Chardon's offensive game. And hopefully they're going to continue this, because they're still only 10 points down. They're only 10 points out of the game. There's plenty of time yet.
2nd down and 10. Percassi hands the ball to Desipeta, coming to the outside, gets down to the 30. He is thrown down there by number 23 of the West Geauga Wolverines, Bill DiMuzio, gain of about 4, maybe 5. It'll bring up 3rd and 6 at the 30-yard line for Chardon. In this half, gentlemen, it seems that the West Geauga defense is doing a little better job of cutting down those slants. And there you see the 3 Musketeers right there. I'm on the left in the Cablevision hat, and there's Mr. Walsh in the middle, and Mr. Narush is to the right of Mr. Walsh, as you see there. We are not 3 marked men, by the way. That is not true. It is not true that we are 3 marked men. We should mention all of the new electronic gadgets that we have this week. We can do those split screens and all those sort of things. And there's the give to Jim O'Patterney. O'Patterney down inside the 20, 15, 10. And if he didn't step out of bounds, he's going all the way. And it is a touchdown for Chardon. He did not step out of bounds. The Chardon Hilltoppers take a 16-0 lead.
Yeah, I'll tell you, that was a case like in an earlier run by Jim O'Patterney where the safety man was the one that stopped him. Jim O'Patterney must have learned from that because the safety man committed himself to going to the inside or outside. Jim made a little move on him, cut it back to the inside, touchdown. Beautiful running by Jim O'Patterney.
Dale Backus will attempt the extra point. Mark Percassi will hold with 1:20 to play here in the 3rd quarter. 16-0 Chardon. The ball is down, and I believe he missed it. It was off to the left and no good. So Dale Backus, I believe for the first time this season, has missed an extra point. With 1 minute and 20 seconds to play here in quarter number 3, it's Chardon 16, West Geauga nothing.
I'll tell you, Dale's extra points are tough ones to call because he gets them up in the air so high that referees lose perspective a little bit. It's like trying to watch a plane fly overhead. Does it go over the goalpost or doesn't it?
Remember that that the game that we did here against Painesville Riverside, the Riverside coaches were absolutely convinced that Dale Backus had missed the field goal that eventually won that ball game. And in fact, they came over and looked at the replays after the game, and they were still convinced that he missed it. Dale kicked the ball so high that we actually couldn't tell whether he made it or not. We weren't even sure.
One man in the field knew, and that was the referee, so that's the opinion that counts.
His is the only opinion that counts.
That's right.
Mike Mazurko, number 17, John Quinlan, number 24, Greg Sabraco, number 37, deep to receive the kick. It's taken by Quinlan at the 2, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, gets a couple of blocks going all the way, 50, nice 45, back, and there he goes, but I believe it's going to be called back by a penalty way back upfield. John Quinlan has scored, but we have a flag. There is a flag on the play, and I believe that this West Geauga touchdown and a beautiful piece of running by John Quinlan will be canceled.
I think we had an illegal block or push down here in the 20, right about at the point where he cut it along the sideline.
Yeah, I think I saw number 10 for Chardon. Who is that, guys? He had outside responsibility, and I think he kind of got shoved in the back.
It was Keith Gallo.
Yeah,
So a 98-yard kickoff return for a touchdown by John Quinlan, and also a beautiful piece of running goes right down the drain thanks to the penalty. And now not only will West Geauga lose at least 6 points off of the board, but they will have horrible field position back down inside their own 10-yard line, I believe.
That's really heartbreaking for West Geauga because, as I mentioned, and we all know, they needed a big play to get back in this game, and that would have definitely lifted their spirits and would obviously give them a better chance of trying to pull this one out of the burner at this point.
And also that TD, had it counted, would have given this very young West Geauga team a much-needed lift.
Yeah, very much so. We'll have to see how they react to this, which is obviously a negative point psychologically. Timeout, West G.
Greg Craddock comes over to talk it over with his coach, Mike Posguy. And we have 1 minute and 4 seconds to play here in the 3rd quarter. Once again, it's a good time to remind you that you can start your Sunday morning off with a laugh. Read Marilyn Whipke only in the Geauga Times Leader. Call now for home delivery. 12 weeks of 7-day delivery for only $12. 286-6101 or 564-5707. The Geauga Times Leader, your local newspaper.
Yeah, well, we got this opportunity. Other games going on in the CVC this week. Besides the game we're watching at the moment is undefeated Chagrin Falls travels to Orange. Kenston will be going at Twinsburg, and Solon is at Wycliffe, which should be quite a battle between the two unbeaten teams. So consequently, one of them is going to lose tonight with the new Ohio no-tie rule.
Chagrin Falls also an unbeaten ball club. Greg Craddock gives the ball to Mike Moore, and Moore picks up about 5 yards before being thrown down by the middle of the Chardon line. In particular, number 54, Ed Seletsky, and number 56, Lewis Philby. And we have a few things going on down the field. I believe we have a flag. Yes, we do. We will find out what the flag is. We're going to see.
Yeah, I don't really see any sign. I don't really have an idea who it's against.
Clock is stopped with 46 seconds.
West Geauga. Unsportsmanlike conduct.
Was it?
Yep.
Clock is stopped with 46 seconds to play here in the third quarter. Mike Posguy, the West Geauga coach, out talking with the referees, wants an explanation of what's going on, I'm sure. It was second down and about 5 yards to go. It may not be the case now. It appears we do have a flag on the play, and maybe a penalty against West Geauga. And I take it that Mick saw a preliminary indication down there that that's what the penalty was. Now I see it also. That's what it does look like. It does look like an unsportsmanlike conduct against West G. And it's going to be stepped off against the Wolverines, I believe, unless we have some kind of an offset here, which I don't think we do.
Yeah, I tell you, maybe it's just a case the referees might have gone over to the coaches to talk to them, because last year's game between these two teams was a rather spirited one, and referees just want to ensure that it doesn't get out of hand like it did last year, which is definitely a good move, good officiating by those people.
Chardon and West G, since Chardon's re-entry into the Chagrin Valley Conference back in the 1983 season, have had a couple of spirited ball games. Last year, as John mentioned, in 1983, West G handed Chardon their only loss in conference play that season in the conference opener right here at this field, 14-7. And once again, I believe the ball is given to Mike Moore, and Moore is out across the 10, out to the 12, maybe the 13-yard line. There's also a loss of down on that play. It's third down now, so we call it third down and about 12. It'll be third and 12 for third and 8 rather for West G at the 12-yard line of West Geauga. This is a good time to remind you also as well that we will have a CVC Game of the Week every week here on Cablevision. Cablevision Geauga Times Leader CVC Game of the Week, featuring one of the 4 teams in the Cablevision primary service area, and that's the end of the third quarter. The third quarter of play is over with our score: Chardon 16, West Geauga nothing. In Chardon, Ohio, at Chardon High School. Chardon on 2 long touchdown runs, one coming on a kickoff return to open the game by Jeff Palaima of 77 yards. The other coming on a 30-yard run in the third quarter by Jim O'Patterney, and a 26-yard field goal by Dale Backus in the second quarter, lead at 16-0 over West G as we start the fourth quarter of action. As I was saying, when the third quarter came to an end there, we'll have the Cablevision Geauga Times Leader CVC Game of the Week every Monday night here on Channel 20. at 7 o'clock, so you can join us. And the game will include at least one of the 4 teams in the primary service area of Cablevision. That is either West G, Kenston, Chardon, or Chagrin Falls. At least one of those teams will be involved. Because of contractual obligations, we cannot tell you what games we'll have on a week-by-week basis, but it'll involve one of those 4 teams. And an underthrown pass by Craddock again comes down short, and it's broken up. And actually, Mike Mazurko, the receiver, made a good play to stop that ball from being intercepted. It'll be 4th down.
We got a flag.
I think it's against
holding Chardon.
Defensive holding against Chardon, and correct me if I'm wrong, but that should give West Geauga a 1st down.
That's right. That was a nice fly pattern run by Mazurko. He's got tremendous speed, and Mr. Craddock threw a very nice pass about 40 yards, but I think it's a case of the wide receiver just possibly having too much speed for the arm of the quarterback. They ran that play about 3 times this game, and in all but one case, Mazurko really outran the pass.
Mike Mazurko's been open on those patterns about 3 or 4 times this game, and every time Greg Craddock has been unable to get him the ball. It'll be 1st and 10. Let's mark the ball at about the 22-yard line of West G. That's where West G will have it. Wide to the left, Mazurko. Wide to the right is Quinlan, and the give is up the middle to Mike Moore. And Moore isn't going much of anywhere. In fact, he may have even been caught for a loss of about 1. Call it 2, actually. It'll be 2nd and 12.
You can just see West Geauga just walks back to the huddle. It's like they don't want to play. Chardon gets tightened up. You can see him bouncing around, adrenaline flowing. It's just 2 totally different attitudes out there.
Sure does look that way. 2nd down and 12. Wide to the right comes Quinlan. And let's see, wide to the left is Dave Sterlikar. In the slot left is Sabraco. He comes in motion. And rolling out to his right is Greg Craddock under heavy pressure, rolling to his outside, steps upfield, gets across at 25, turns it up to about the 28-yard line. He picked up about 8 yards on the play, and that'll bring up 3rd and 4 for West G at the West G 28.
It seems as if the quarterback scramble is the best offensive play West Geauga has going for it tonight. Nothing else seems to be working.
3rd down, let's call it 4 yards to go for West G at the West G 28-yard line. Wide to the left comes Quinlan. Mazurko comes wide to the right. In the slot right is Sabraco. And the lone setback behind Greg Craddock is Mike Moore. Now Sabraco comes in motion left. Craddock rolling to his left, looking for some help, is wrapped up and thrown for a huge loss by Ed Seletsky, and we have a flag. And I believe that this may be some kind of a late hit or personal foul against Chardon.
I would have to assume that's what it is, because there was only the 3 Chardon players back there on him. Ed Seletsky did one fine job of penetrating across, boxing him in, and just not letting him get around outside of him.
Craddock sure couldn't have done anything. He was down on the ground.
No,
he was the only West G player in the vicinity.
Yeah, they're marking it off from that point. I think it might have been a late hit by one of the Chardon players.
Could be. We're going to get the indication here, and I think that's what it is, a personal foul against Chardon.
That's a shame. That was a very stupid foul by whoever did it, because Ed Seletsky was throwing quarterback around like a Cupid doll. He really didn't need any additional help at all. So there was a very poor choice by the Chardon defenseman in that play.
Now there's something wrong here, unless I have my rules screwed up. How could this be 4th down?
It was, I think they said after he was down, it was a piling down, so it was a dead ball foul.
It's not an automatic 1st down, I take it.
No, well, I guess not.
Well, it's 4th down and 1. And
that's going to be
Greg
close.
Craddock will take it up the middle, and it's real close.
Have to see how, I guess, Coach decided just to go for it. He might as well just let it out right now, because he does need the 3 scores to get back into the lead. So now's the time to do it. If you give Chardon another one, it's really not going to hurt you.
There you see Mike Poe's guy on the sidelines, and Craddock did get the 1st down. It is 1st and 10 for West Geauga at the West G 32-yard line. Wide to the right comes Quinlan. Wide to the left is Mazurko. And the slot left is Sabraco. Tight to the right is Blasey. The lone setback is Mike Moore. Sabraco comes in motion right. Craddock to throw under heavy pressure. Rolling to his right. He's going to have to run with it. And he will be forced out of bounds across the 35 at about the 37-yard line. He picked up about 3. Make it second down and call it about 6 yards to go for West Geauga.
I think if Greg would release the pass as he's coming out of that pocket a little sooner, he's got some receivers cutting underneath the linebackers that are open in the beginning, but he seems to be holding the ball too long, and by the time he's ready to pass, they're already covered. So, hopefully assistant coaches are going to see this and pass it on down the field so Greg can make that adjustment.
Second down and 6 for the Wolverines. Wide to the right comes Sterlikar. In the slot right is Quinlan. Tight to the left is Blasey. Moore up and Richards back in the eye behind Craddock. Craddock to throw. Can't get off the pass quickly. Has to roll the outside. 35. Knocked out of bounds at about the 38. He may have picked up a yard or 2. Let's call it a 2-yard gain for Greg Craddock. It'll be 3rd down and 4 for West G up at the West G 38-yard line.
Yeah, this Chardon defensive line, these boys are just in tremendous condition. They just don't get tired. They keep coming, and making life unbearable in that West G backfield. Fine play by the up front people for Chardon tonight.
West G ball, 3rd and 4. Wide to the left is Mazurko, and the slot right is Quinlan. Tight to the right is Blasey. Richards left, and Moore right in the tee. Now Quinlan comes in motion left. Crack to throw over the middle to his tight end Blasey, who is hit and brought down immediately there by number 43, Steve Fellinger. And it is very, very close to a first down. And from where we're sitting, it looks like he may have the first down. They're going to have to bring the chains out and measure. Momentarily, we have a timeout now on the field. Once again, with 8 minutes and 22 seconds to play in the ball game, it is a good time to remind you that if you have something to sell and you really need to sell it quickly, call the Geauga Times Leader advisors. They can get you that sale very, very quickly. For more information, call the Geauga Times Leader at 286-6101 or 564-5707. The Geauga Times Leader, your local newspaper, and West Geauga did, in fact, pick up the first down.
I'll have to tell you, in that previous play, Steve Fellinger, as we mentioned earlier, received the injury. He's normally a linebacker. He's playing at the cornerback, and at 6 foot, 180 pounds, I'd say he has to be one of the bigger cornerbacks this league has.
And I'll tell you, that brace on his shoulder is holding up because he really used it that time.
Oh, yeah.
Wide to the left comes Sterlikar, and the slot right is Quinlan. Back up is Moore, back is Richards in the eye. Rolling to the left is Craddock in a lot of trouble, and he is thrown for an enormous loss by Ed Zaletsky back around the 30-yard line of West G. It's a loss of about 18 yards more, and it'll be second down and forever for West Geauga way back at the 30-yard line.
I'll tell you, Ed Zaletsky just seems to be improving by the week at that defensive end position. He's playing a tremendous job. He got his opportunity off of an injured player, stepped in, is just filling in and doing an excellent job. I believe he's won himself the starting defensive end. He's playing inspired ball. He's all over, boxing in, just playing it beautifully like it should be.
Second down, let's call it about 27 yards to go for a West Geauga first down. And Todd Blasey jumps offside. We're going to have a penalty against West G. That'll back him up another 5 yards.
You know, Tom made a big mistake there. When he went off sides, he should have turned around and started yelling at his teammates because it was kind of embarrassing. You know, this way he could have made it like the other 10 guys blew it, but no, he just walks back to the huddle.
I'll tell you, did you notice in that particular play, every one of the referees got in? I mean, it was very obvious what was going on, but every one of them wanted to pull that yellow flag out to be the first to see it.
They love it. They love pulling that flag.
I suppose so.
Second down, let's call it 32 yards to go. Wide to the right, Mazurko. Wide to the left is Quinlan. Tight to the left is Blasey. Here's the give to Mike Moore. Moore is not going very far. He picks up about 2 yards at the most. It's wrapped up there by number 50, Kelly Bright. And we'll see who gets off the bottom of that pile for Chardon. Lewis Philby, number 56. Gary Leggett, number 45, also in there. It'll be 3rd down. And once again, it'll be forever in the terms of about 30 yards to go for West Geauga.
Yeah, it is. It's I don't know what kind of a play you could call in here. I'm sure glad I'm not the one shuttling in the play. I don't know exactly what I would call. Like Joe said, it's 3rd down and forever.
I'm the Cucamonga.
Just over 6 minutes to play here in the ball game. Sabraco comes in motion right. Craddock back to throw down the sideline, caught by Mazurko. He flips it back to Sabraco, but the Chardon defense was there, and he picks up about 7 or 8 yards on the play. It'll still be 4th and a very, very long 22 yards to go.
Yeah, a la Don Shula. That's where that particular type of play came from.
Well, ever since they made that play work in that playoff game against the Chargers a few years back, everybody's been trying it, although it's one of the oldest plays that there is in football.
That's right.
That's a play that goes back to pre-T formation days. It'll be 4th down, and deep to receive is Jeff Evans. Once again, Mick Dwyer will punt. He gets a high snap and had to get rid of the ball quickly. It's a low line drive kick, but it gets a good West G roll. Rolls inside the 30-yard line and rolls dead at the 28. So even though Mick Dwyer probably had his weakest punt of the night there, he may have had his best yardage. It'll be 1st and 10 at the 28-yard line.
Yeah, I don't expect Chardon to get too very sophisticated right here. I imagine it'll be straightforward handoffs. Hold the ball. Don't give West Geauga the opportunity to get it back on a fumble or a fancy move turnover of some sort. I would just expect straight off tackle, off guard plays.
5:08 to play in the ball game, and the clock is running as the Chardon Hilltoppers break the huddle. Leggett tight to the left, tight to the right is Brett Greer. In the slot right is O'Patterney. Lynn up and Decepeda back in the eye. Percassi gives the ball to Decepeda. Elmer gets out over the 30 to about the 32-yard line. Knocked down there by number 62 of the West Geauga Wolverines, who is Frank Kalo. It'll be 2nd down and about 7 yards to go.
Yeah, as I expected, Coach Doyle is just going to keep running up the middle. I don't know, who's he got in there at fullback? No, Mike Lynn's still in the lineup. He's resting Dale Backus, which makes sense because he's got this game well in control. Might as well keep your big bruising fullback off the field. Give him another week to recuperate from that ankle injury.
2nd down, let's call it 6 yards to go. And here's the give again to Decepeda, kind of the outside, breaks a couple of tackles. And he's thrown down about the 35-yard line. It'll be 3rd down. And let's call it about 4 yards to go for a Chardon 1st down.
Mike Lorenzo plays a very good middle linebacker. I've seen him on several plays tonight exhibit excellent lateral pursuit, and playing the right linebacker, he made the tackle again on the left side of the field and really kept the gain to a minimum.
3rd down, let's call it about 4. A pattern, he comes in motion left. The give is to Mike Lynn, and Lynn picks up about 2, possibly 3 yards. He is short of the 1st down, and immediately West G calls for time as it'll be a punting situation. It'll be 4th down. Let's call it 2 yards to go for Chardon, and the Hilltoppers, of course, with 3:28 to play in the ball game, will punt. By the way, if you have a local news tip, call the Geauga Times leader at 286-6101 or 564-5707. The Geauga Times leader is your local newspaper.
Yeah, I would expect West Geauga at this time to make an attempt to block that punt. Their backs into the wall. It's time to pull out any stop you possibly can. Go for getting it. Just get yourself on the scoreboard however you can. I think that's their best opportunity at the moment. So wouldn't be surprised to see 1 man deep and 10 men coming on to try to meet Mr. Backus's punt.
We saw some divided opinion down there a minute ago. One person who wanted to be on television, one who most definitely did not. That was pretty much being dragged into the range of the camera against her will.
I missed that. You should have elbowed me in the rib cage there, Joe, to show me the monitor.
Proof that we have at least one camera-shy person here at Chardon High School tonight. There you see the West Geauga Majorettes there, and also members of the West Geauga Marching Band, which is generally considered to be one of the finest marching bands in the entire United States. They've won many awards, have performed all over the world. There's a high kick by Backus, hits the 30 and rolls out of bounds inside the 30 at about, actually it rolled out of bounds across the 30 at the 31-yard line. That's where West G will take over 1st and 10. The West Geauga offense has sputtered and stumbled all night. And they will try to make one last stand for glory here with 3 minutes and 21 seconds to play in the ball game.
Yeah, I'm sure their goal right now is just to get themselves on the scoreboard.
Once again, it's a very young team for West G, so all you West G fans out there take heart. Only returning one starter and 6 lettermen from last year, so they've got a lot of growing to do. 1st down and 10 for West Geauga. Wide to the right, Quinlan. Wide to the left is Mazurko. And Mike Mazurko gets the ball, takes up to about the 40-yard line on the pass from Quinlan. Chuck Cox made the tackle. Also Bob Peterson in there. It's a gain of about 8. It'll be 2nd down. Let's call it 2 for West G.
Yeah, I think West G's doing the right thing by trying just those quick-hitting little passes. That's probably about the only thing they can do to get themselves back into this offensive flow.
Quinlan wide to the right, wide to the left is Mazurko, and I believe the Wolverines took too much time.
Was it that or procedure? I thought I saw the right side of the line pick up a little bit.
That's procedure. You're right as always, John.
Oh, I wouldn't say always, Joe. Would you, Mick?
No.
Thank you, Mick.
99.9%. John is human, folks. Even though he doesn't like to admit it.
Well, we can't say that.
Or many others either.
I can't use that line because they are not one of our advertisers. Of course, 2nd down and 7 yards to go. 99 and 44 100% of the time. Yes. 2nd down and 7. Mazurko wide to the right, wide to the left is Quinlan, going down the sideline for Mazurko again, and Mike Mazurko can't catch that ball. Went right through his hands down at the 40-yard line, and that one was laid out right there for him.
Yeah, I know. It looked
Nice
like
pass.
Bob Peterson was playing prevent defense. He was allowing him catch it, which maybe at this point is a safe move, because the safety man, D. Maxwell, was float on the other side of the field, just coming to give him help. So if Bob had gone for the interception or something and missed it, it would have been goodbye for West Geauga.
3rd down and about 7 yards to go for West G. Wide to the right is Mazurko. Wide to the left is Quinlan. Tight to the left is Blasey. Back to throw, Craddock rolling to his right under heavy pressure from Brett Greer, and he's going to be sacked by Greer back at the 30-yard line. It'll bring up 4th down. So with the clock running, just over 2 minutes to play in the ball game, it'll be 4th down, and once again, Mick Dwyer will come out to punt for West G, I believe.
I wonder if Mick can throw a pass. Why not try something tricky now?
You might as well, because 23-0 is roughly the same as 16-0. At this point, you might as well just pull everything out. Exactly.
Jeff Evans is deep in single safety to receive, and a very high snap, and Mick Dwyer did really well just to get the ball away.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of yardage he got out of that. I don't think much at all.
Negative yardage, as a matter of fact.
Could well be. See where they spot the ball.
They'll spot the ball at the 32-yard line. That makes it a 0-yard punt. Actually, a 2-yard punt. I'll take that back. A 2-yard punt for Mick Dwyer.
That's unfortunate.
Under tremendous pressure, as he has been all night. And it'll be 1st and 10 for Chardon at the 32-yard line. And the Hilltoppers take timeout with 1:43 to play in the ball game. And once again, one final time to remind you that you can start your Sunday morning off with a laugh. Read Marilyn Whipke, only in the Geauga Times-Leader. You can get 12 weeks of 7-day delivery for only $12. And to do that, call 286-6101 or 564-5707. The Geauga Times-Leader, your local newspaper.
Tell me, Joe, have you ever had the occasion to meet Marilyn Whipke?
Yes, I have.
What is she like, truly? America wants to know. What is Marilyn Whipke like?
She's very, very nice.
Is she?
Yes.
Okay, there's your answer, America.
Well, now that we have that,
I have a young man being held up by the West Geauga cheerleader.
a very young man, as a matter of fact. While we have that information out of the way, we also have a new quarterback for Chardon. This is number 11, Kevin Goodge, and I think he's seeing his first action of the year. And the ball is given up the middle, I believe, to, I'll have to see that. I didn't see who got the handoff. I'm going to have to wait until they unpile here to see who had it. It's number 25, Brad Fulton, and Brad picks up about 2 yards. It'll be second down. Second team pretty much now in the ball game.
I believe so. It's mass substitution by Chardon. Give the boys sit down and help the team all week long the opportunity to play.
Mike Scolaris, who in fact started one game for the Hilltoppers while Dale Backus was injured, gets the ball on that carry. Picks up a couple of yards, brought down there by number 21, Les Bakos. And it'll be third down. Let's call it about 7 yards to go.
Yeah, I don't know how many initial starters are in there right now for sure. We should mention as many names as we possibly can.
Sure will. We don't have much time, though. 47 seconds to play in the ball game. Once again, the ball is given to Scolaris, and Scolaris is down inside the 25 to about the 23-yard line. He is very, very close to a Chardon first down, and that stops the clock with 40 seconds to play. So, John, whip out the roster and tell us about all those players if we can possibly find them.
I picked up the two. I'll take it by position. I took the 2 tackle positions. You have number 70, Rob Paskavich, and a number 71, Ricky Woods at the 2 tackles. We'll try to pick up the other numbers to get all the boys the recognition they deserve as soon as we can. I think that's Kelly Bright playing center, backing up Vic Hagman.
West Geauga also has Brian Davis, number 80, Dave Bunsey, number 83 in the ball game. We'll pick up their numbers too. Jim Scolaris takes the ball, and I believe he fumbles. I guess he fumbled out of bounds. Number 79.
West Geauga's ball.
And it is West Geauga's football. And the Wolverines will have the ball for one last stand here with 34 seconds to play in the ball game.
What would you call in this instant, Joe? You got a miracle play up your sleeve or what?
No, I'll leave that to all the people down in the field. How's that sound?
And the parents in the stands.
Looks like we've pretty much got the first string offense on the field for West Geauga at this point in the ball game. 34 seconds to play.
I see Chardon's secondary is pretty much first string. The line, I think, is substituted.
Wide to the right comes Mazurko. Wide to the left is and it's overthrown, intended for Mazurko. It'll be second and 10. Quinlan was wide to the left there. 31 seconds to play in the ball game. Chardon leads at 16-0. A quick recap of the scoring to date. A 77-yard kickoff return on the opening kickoff by Jeff Palima for a TD. A 26-yard field goal second quarter by Dale Backus. And in the third quarter, a 30-yard touchdown run by Jim O'Patterney. 31 seconds to play. Mazurko wide to the left, wide to the right is Quinlan. Tight to the right is Blasey. Moore left, Richards right in the tee. Craddock to throw. Over the middle, it is caught by number 82, Bob Colombo. Excuse me, is into the ball game. And it'll be third down.
Now, while we get this opportunity, I'll hit you with some of Chardon's stats for the game. Yeah, Jim O'Patterney turned in another fine game with 8 carries for 68 yards. Over 8 yards a carry average. Elmer Desipeda had 12 carries for 58 yards. That's what, a 6-yard average? Is that, how's my math doing?
Close enough.
Close enough. Okay, Mike Lynn had 5 carries for 15 yards. Dale Backus, 2 carries for 6 yards. And Mark Bacassi turned in another outstanding performance at quarterback with 3 carries for 18 yards.
Well, we also have a new ball player in for West Geauga here, number 27, Tim Roethlisberger. He's been in a few times already tonight anyway. Roethlisberger wide to the left, wide to the right is Quinlan. He comes in motion left, Richards left, and right in the tee is Moore. Rolling to his left is Craddock. Craddock across the 30, 35, 40, and then he's rolled out of bounds to about the 41-yard line. Now with 12 seconds left in the ball game, he stops the clock. It'll be 1st and 10 for West G at the West G 41.
Yeah, the sad thing for West G case is they're having trouble moving the ball really against this watered-down Chardon defense. It's just been a rough night for West Geauga. But like Joe alluded to earlier, they have a very green team. They're building for the future, and they're facing tonight probably one of the better teams in the CVC.
1st and 10 at the 39-yard line. Wide to the right is back to throw Craddock. Craddock rolling to his left. His pass is overthrown. Incomplete. It was intended there for number 46, Dave Sterlikar. It'll be 2nd down and 10. 8 seconds to play in the ball game.
Yeah, I think we only got time for 1, maybe 2 plays. It depends how quick they can get the first one off. This game will be history, as Joe often says at the close of many games.
Bob Doyle's Chardon Hilltoppers will go to 4-1 on the season. Mike Poe's guys, West Geauga Wolverines, after a season-opening victory against Menor, have now dropped 4 in a row. They'll go to 1-4. Chardon's only loss came at the hands of Glenville. They've beaten their other 4 opponents. Craddock to throw over the middle, and his pass is tipped. Falls incomplete. It's tipped there by number 87 of the Chardon Hilltoppers.
Brian Wacob.
Brian Wacob. It'll be 3rd down. We've got time, I think, for about 1 more play with 5 seconds to play in the ball game.
Yeah, it's hard to say. That play took 3 seconds. Maybe we have 2 more. They're really getting a lot out of the time they have left.
Chardon's victories this season, we ought to know. We've seen them all. Last week against Kenston, they opened the season with wins over Central Catholic and Paynesville Riverside. West Geauga beat Menor, and they have since been beaten by Mayfield, Brush, and now Chagrin Falls, and Chardon 5 seconds from now in conference play. 3rd down, rolling to his right is Craddock under heavy pressure, steps up, goes over the middle. The ball is caught there by number 10 of West G, and he may be going all the way. Number 10 is Tom Richards, and Tom Richards is in for a score on the last play of the ball game.
And no flag now. Touchdown's going to hold.
Tom Richards on the last play of the game, catching a 59-yard pass from Greg Craddock, and it's a 16-6 ball game. And of course, West G now will try the extra point. Tom Richards has to be a very happy young man, and the Chardon Hilltoppers lose their shutout on the last play of the game.
I'll tell you, it's too bad for Chardon. They lost their shutout and all that, but I'm almost happy for this West Geauga team because it gives them something to look forward to going into next week. If they hadn't got that one big play, it would have been just a really flat week of practice. Tough to motivate them. Now maybe this will pump them up a little bit and then go on and perform well in the CVC.
And I believe now Tom Richards also will attempt the extra point. So that gives him an opportunity to score all of West G's points this evening, as a matter of fact. There you see one of our erstwhile cameramen up there, Jim Cherney, who is up there. And also we have, I believe, Steve Karchevsky. No, Steve is not on camera tonight. He's not a member of our technical crew. Who's on our other camera, do you know?
I believe Mark Burr's running the camera.
Mark Burr is running the other camera. Okay, we got it there. There is a momentary delay here. And there you see the erstwhile Cablevision mobile unit gang. Or at least a portion
Joe?
of it. Yes.
I see. It's an impressive terminology. And then we're flashing around the crowd again. We have the majorettes from the West Geauga band. They seem in good spirits. I guess that touchdown pumped them up a little bit, which is good. Like to see everybody go home a winner of some sorts.
I hate to belabor the point, but of course, like I said before, and there you see the Chardon marching band. West G marching band, one of the considered virtually universally one of the top marching bands in the United States. They've performed all over the country. In fact, I believe all over the world. They've performed at many fairs, festivals, professional football games. They've performed down at Cleveland Stadium at halftime number of times, and it's something that the community there in the West Geauga area has been for a long time and should be very, very proud of. The West Geauga Marching Band and Majorettes. They put an awful lot of time and work into building a national reputation.
Yeah, it is tough, and the band does contribute a lot, because what would halftime be without a high school bands playing, entertaining the crowds? Those kids work hard. They put in, well, probably I would imagine they put in more hours than the actual team does practicing to put on their performances, and in many cases it comes forth that way. Again, we're looking at many crowd scenes, watching them. We have a player down on the field. That's what this long delay is. The game is, for all extensive purposes, over. The clock scoreboard is down to no time left at all. So it's just an opportunity to show who is at the game tonight.
All we have remaining, actually, is an extra point. That's all we have left to go here. There you see a West Geauga majorette and a West Geauga cheerleader. Obviously, still pretty happy in spite of the outcome of the ball game. Didn't go their way.
Well, they've performed well, though. Put on a nice exhibition down in front of us here, leading their crowd on, trying to help their team. Unfortunately, it was just somewhat of a mismatch tonight. You ran into a strong Chardon team that thus far this season has performed rather well, and West G has just got youth going for them. They're going to be a fine team in a year, maybe next year, maybe the following year or something like that, but in order to do that, start out with, as Joe said, just one returning starter, 6 returning lettermen, you got to take your lumps, and unfortunately West Geauga tonight took their lumps from a good Chardon team.
It happens that time, and not having coached football, but having coached some other sports, when you get into a rebuilding situation, it's really rough. And that is exactly the situation that Mike Posguy stepped into when he took over this program a year ago after Bob Quackenbush left for Ashland High School. And last year, a 2-8 record for West G. This year, 1-4. But with the youth of this ball club, they really have nowhere to go but up.
Yeah, as I understand it, West Geauga loses a lot of their potential football players to a state power soccer team, which they have at the school, which is an important sport also, but it doesn't help the boys on the field tonight. Okay, we're getting ready for the try at the extra point. Injured player seems to be well. Seems to be just a leg injury. We hope he's fine.
And Tom Richards, who scored the touchdown, will also attempt the extra point. Mike Mazurko will hold.
Number 10, Tom Richards will attempt the extra.
High snap, but Mazurko gets it down, and Richards, the soccer-style kicker, boots it through, and that's the end of the ball game with our final score, Chardon 16, West Geauga 7. That wraps it up here at Chardon High School. Gentlemen, any closing comments?
Well, I'd say, like, essentially we've summed it up the entire game. West G is just in the rebuilding phase. Chardon is essentially there. So we just look forward to a rough season for West Geauga and a fine season ahead for the Chardon Hilltoppers, who are definitely one of the leading contenders for the CVC-GOW this season, now that they're 2-0 in league play.
You see the two teams shaking hands there at the end of the field. That's just about the end of our ball game. For John Walsh and Mick LaRouche, I'm Joe Scarola, reminding you that once again there will be another CVC game of the week next week and every week through the end of the season, right here on Cablevision Channel 20 every Monday night at 7 p.m. So I'm Joe Scarola for John Walsh and Mick LaRouche for our technical staff here at Cablevision. Good night, and we'll see you next week.